Have you ever tried to forget someone whose memory is carved into your heartbeat? Have you ever smiled in front of the world while quietly bleeding inside? Because the one you love is no longer by your side. If your soul still whispers their name in the silence of the night, if you're holding on to memories like they're the last pieces of a broken dream, this speech is for you. Because moving on when you still love them isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering with strength. It's about honoring love without becoming a prisoner to it. Here's some of the key points you have to follow if you really want to overcome this situation. Point number 1. Acknowledge the love without shame. When we fall in love, something deep inside us awakens. Love doesn't simply live in the mind. It takes root in the heart, in the soul, in every part of who we are. And when it ends, especially if it ends while we still love them, it leaves behind a silent H that words often can't express. The world around us, well-meaning friends and family, may say things like, "You need to move on," or "You're better off." But those phrases, though true in time, often fail to honor what that love meant. There is no shame in loving someone who could not stay. There is no weakness in still feeling warmth in your chest when their name crosses your mind. That love was real. It had a purpose. It was a chapter that mattered. Too often, we try to hide that we still care, as if we should be over it already, as if time has an on-off switch for feelings. But healing begins with radical honesty, and that means admitting, yes, I still love them. Not to chase them, not to beg them back, but to honor your own emotional truth. You're not foolish for feeling. You're not broken for remembering. You are human, and your heart is proof that you love deeply. And that is beautiful. When you acknowledge the love without shame, something powerful begins to happen. The guilt starts to fade. You stop blaming yourself for not being over it. You stop comparing your timeline to others. You begin to see that loving someone who no longer loves you back isn't something to erase. It's something to integrate into your story. That love taught you something. It gave you memories, lessons, and a version of yourself that maybe you hadn't met before. Let that be enough. You can still move forward without needing to forget. So don't deny it. Don't suppress it. Sit with your love. Let it speak to you. Let it cry, scream, whisper until its voice softens and your peace grows louder. The love may not vanish overnight, and that's okay. It may linger like perfume on your skin or a song stuck in your head. But you're not wrong for feeling. You're courageous for facing it. And every time you choose to acknowledge your love without judgment, you loosen the chains around your heart. Eventually, that love will stop hurting. It will become a warm memory rather than an open wound. It will become a chapter you can look back on without tears in your eyes, but with wisdom in your soul. So, be kind to yourself in the process. Because sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is say, yes, I still love them, and I'm learning to love myself more. Point number 2. Detach from the fantasy, not the person. When we're in love, we often build not just a relationship, but a future. We dream of holding their hand through every storm, of shared Sunday mornings and growing old together. We imagine birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, even how they'd look decades from now, laughing beside us. That's the power of love. It paints vivid pictures of what could be. But when love ends or when it becomes one-sided, those dreams don't vanish overnight. They stay. They age. And more often than not, it's not the person we can't let go of. It's the fantasy we built around them. That's why moving on becomes so difficult. Because we're not just saying goodbye to a person. We're mourning a version of life that felt so real in our hearts. The version where they changed. The version where they stayed. The version where all the what ifs turned into happily ever afters. And that's the most painful illusion to release. The imagined perfection of what could have been. But here's the truth. We must learn to separate the reality from the fantasy. The real them, the one who maybe hurt us, coasted us, or outgrew the relationship. That's who we must remember. Not the potential we saw. Not the version we created in our minds. The truth is, people show you who they are in their patterns, not in your projections. And loving someone's potential while ignoring their behavior is how we lose ourselves in the process. So take a deep breath and look again. Not with rose-colored glasses, but with compassionate clarity. Were they truly present with you? Did they love you in your language? Or did you keep hoping they would become someone they never promised to be? That clarity is painful, yes. But it's also freeing. Because when you detach from the fantasy, you stop blaming yourself for why it didn't work. You stop replaying every moment, thinking you should have done more. And you realize maybe you love them more in your mind than they were ever capable of loving you in real life. Grieve the dream, mourn the illusion, and then gently return to reality. Because healing lives there. This isn't about demonizing them or turning your heart cold. You can still respect who they were, even if they weren't who you needed. You can still honor the love while choosing to protect your peace. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging to what was never meant to stay. And as you slowly let go of the fantasy, something begins to shift. Your heart starts to reclaim space. Your mind starts to clear. You begin to see yourself again, not just as someone who lost love, but as someone brave enough to face the truth and still choose to heal. So let them go. Not the person, but the illusion. Because your future deserves someone real, someone present, someone who doesn't live in the story you wrote in your head, but walks beside you in the life you're building now. Point number 3. Feel it all without getting stuck. A heartbreak is a storm you can't outrun. No matter how strong you are, no matter how busy you keep yourself, or how many distractions you chase, eventually, the weight of what you've lost catches up to you. And in those quiet hours, when the world falls asleep and it's just you and your heart, the pain demands to be felt. And here's what most people won't tell you: that's okay. In fact, it's necessary. You can't heal what you won't allow yourself to feel. So many of us try to skip the heartbreak stage. We numb it with noise, with new people, with false positivity. We pretend we're fine. We say things like, "I'm over it," when deep down, we're anything but. But pain that's buried alive doesn't die. It festers. It shows up later, stronger, harder, and more confusing than before. Let yourself feel it. Cry without shame. Sit with your sadness. Rage into your pillow. Write the letter you'll never send. There is nothing weak about grieving. You're not overreacting. You're not being too sensitive. You're processing something real. A love that mattered, a future that dissolved, a part of yourself that feels torn apart. But here's the key: feel it fully, without getting stuck in it. Pain is a visitor, not a tenant. And while it may stay longer than you'd like, it isn't meant to live with you forever. You must let it pass through you, like a wave. Don't cling to it. Don't resist it. Just ride it. Because every wave, no matter how high, eventually crashes and recedes. There's a difference between feeling the pain and feeding the pain. Feeling it says, "I'm heartbroken, and I'm letting that be okay for now." Feeding it says, "I'll keep replaying the memories, keep stalking their page, keep reopening the wound." One path leads to healing. The other keeps you shackled to suffering. Let the tears come, but don't let them drown you. Let the memories surface, but don't let them trap you. Let the love be honored, but don't let it define your worth. Healing is not linear. Some days you'll feel like you've moved on, and then out of nowhere, a song or a scent will shatter you again. That doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're human. It means your heart is alive. So give yourself grace. Take time for long walks, for journaling, for deep conversations with people who understand. Let nature hold you. Let silence comfort you. Most of all, let yourself feel deeply. But remember that you are not your pain. You are the awareness behind it. And that part of you, that quiet strength behind the storm, is unbreakable. In the end, the only way out is through. So feel it all. Let it wash over you. Let it break you open. And when the waves settle, you'll find something stronger in the stillness yourself. Point no. 4. Your heart breaks to awaken your power. There are moments in life when the pain becomes so loud, so overwhelming that you feel like you'll never be the same again. Heartbreak is one of those moments. It doesn't just bruise your emotions. It shakes the very ground you stand on. And when someone you love leaves, whether physically or emotionally, it can feel like your entire identity has been stripped away. But what if this heartbreak wasn't the end? What if this was your awakening? Yes, your heart has broken, but not to destroy you. It has cracked open to show you something deeper, something more powerful, something that's been asleep within you for far too long: your inner strength. The end isn't the end. It's the edge of your becoming. This is where your power begins, in the darkness, in the confusion, in the silence after goodbye. Because pain has a purpose. It strips away illusions. It pulls back the masks. It forces you to meet the version of yourself that was hiding behind your need for someone else. Maybe you were pouring all your energy into loving them, into fixing them, into being enough for them. Maybe you were bending, shrinking, or silencing your needs just to hold on to them. And now that they're gone, you are left with the most important person in your life, you. At first, this feels like emptiness. But over time, if you lean into the stillness, you'll realize it's actually space. Space to grow. Space to remember who you were before the pain. Space to meet the version of yourself you were always meant to become. You see, heartbreak doesn't destroy you. It reveals you. It shows you where you were settling, where you were begging for crumbs instead of sitting at a table where love is served freely. It shows you the depth of your own capacity to feel, to hope, to care. And that capacity is a gift, even if they didn't value it. So don't waste this pain. Don't run from it. Use it. Let it be the fire that forges you. Let it be the mirror that shows you where you were abandoning yourself. Let it be the fuel that carries you into a life that doesn't just heal you, but ignites you. Sometimes love leaves so you can meet the most important person in your life, yourself. This is your turning point. The moment you stop chasing closure and start creating clarity. The moment you stop asking, why did they leave? And start asking, what part of me was asleep while I stayed? From this pain, you can rise. Not in spite of the heartbreak, but because of it. Because power isn't found in pretending you're okay. It's found in walking through the fire, scared but sacred, torn but transformed. So yes, your heart broke. But look again, something else was born in its placing, a new version of you, fierce, whole, unstoppable. Point no. 5. Create closure without their permission. One of the most painful parts of heartbreak is the lack of closure. We replay conversations. We obsess over what went wrong. We wait for the apology that never comes, the explanation that never arrives, the goodbye that feels unfinished. It's a cruel kind of limbo. Being stuck between what was and what could have been, holding on to a door that has already closed, simply because it wasn't closed properly. But here's the truth: closure is not something they give you. It's something you create for yourself. Waiting for them to validate your pain, to offer the clarity you crave, to suddenly realize your worth. It only prolongs your suffering. You hand over your power every time you wait on someone else to heal your wounds. And the longer you wait, the longer you stay entangled in a story that has already ended. Sometimes the chapter closes without punctuation, and it's still a chapter worth leaving behind. You don't need their permission to let go. You don't need them to come back and make sense of what they broke. You can give yourself the answers. You can decide that their silence is an answer, that their inconsistency is clarity, that their absence speaks volumes. Creating closure means choosing to write your own ending. It means allowing yourself to saying, it hurt. I loved them. I lost something I thought would last. And still I choose to move forward. Not because it no longer matters, but because you matter more. Maybe you need to write them a letter you never send. Pour your heart into it. Every unsaid word, every lingering emotion. Let it all out. Bury it. Keep it. Whatever brings peace. The act is not for them. It's for you. Maybe you need to talk to yourself out loud in your room. Maybe you need to visit the places that hurt until they no longer sting. Maybe you need to look at the photos, cry your soul out, and then delete them. Not in anger, but in surrender. Closure is a decision, a sacred vow that says, I will no longer tie my healing to their actions. I will no longer need their voice to validate my value. I release them, not because they asked for it, but because I deserve peace. The moment you stop waiting for them to come back is the moment you truly come back to yourself. It's powerful when you realize you don't need to hear, I'm sorry, to forgive. You don't need to hear, I miss you, to miss them less. You don't need to hear, I was wrong, to stop doubting your worth. You just need to look in the mirror, take a deep breath, and say, I set myself free. And that is the kind of closure that no one can take from you. Point number 6. Turn the page. Even if you still love them, letting go doesn't always come when the love runs out. Sometimes you still care. You still dream about them. You still wonder if they think of you too. Love has a strange way of lingering, like a song that never quite fades from your heart. And that's what makes moving on so hard, because a part of you still loves them. But here's the truth you must face with courage and grace: saying you can love someone and still choose to walk away. So many people wait to feel nothing before they let go. They think healing means erasing the feelings, forgetting the memories, closing their heart completely. But that's not healing. That's denial. Real healing doesn't demand that you stop loving. It only asks that you start choosing yourself in the presence of that love. You don't have to stop loving them to move on. You just have to stop abandoning yourself to hold on to them. Loving someone doesn't mean they are right for you. It doesn't mean they are capable of loving you back in the way you need, or showing up with the emotional presence you deserve. And holding on to someone who doesn't choose you in return, that slowly breaks your spirit. Turning the page is not betrayal. It's not heartlessness. It's wisdom. It's an act of deep self-respect. Because love is meant to nourish, not deplete, to build, not break. And when love becomes a one-sided wave, it's time to set it down. This part hurts, I know. There will be nights when your chest feels tight, when the ache feels unbearable, when you question if you made the right choice. But healing lives in that pain. The tears, the longing, the quiet grief. It's all part of your rebirth. Don't rush it. Just promise yourself you'll keep moving, no matter how slow. Healing begins the moment you love yourself more than you miss them. Start showing up for your life. Reclaim your mornings. Drink your coffee without scrolling through memories. Create new routines. Talk to people who pour into you. Do things that remind you of your aliveness. Little by little, day by day, you'll start to feel yourself returning. Not to who you were before them, but to a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Turning the page isn't about pretending they didn't matter. It's about accepting that they're not part of your next chapter. And that's okay. Some loves are meant to be lessons, not lifetimes. Some hearts come to waken you, not to stay. So if your heart still whispers their name, don't shame yourself. Let the love be there. But don't let it hold the pen anymore. You are the author now. And the story that lies ahead is full of new beginnings, new peace, and maybe one day a love that stays. So go ahead. Turn the page, even if you still love them. Especially because you still love yourself. Letting go and you still love is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It's choosing peace over pain, self-respect over silent suffering, and growth over staying stuck in a moment that no longer exists. You don't need to erase the love to move forward. You only need to stop letting it hold you back. Feel the ache. Honor the memory. But above all, choose you. Because your heart is still beating. Your story is still unfolding. And your best chapters haven't even been written yet. Thank you from the deepest part of my heart for walking through this emotional journey with me today. If you've made it this far, it means you've loved deeply, lost bravely, and are still standing with a heart that refuses to give up on love. Even when it hurts. I want you to remember something: healing doesn't happen overnight. And you don't have to have it all figured out today. But the fact that you're here, listening, feeling, and choosing growth over bitterness, that's a sign of incredible strength. You are not alone in your pain. You are not broken. And you are so much more than the love that didn't stay. Thank you for letting me be a small part of your healing. Until we meet again in the next story, the next truth, or the next chapter, take care of your heart. You deserve a love that feels like home, starting with your own. Goodbye for now, and please never stop choosing you.